We are streaming and we are recording.
Oh.
But,
My tree is beautiful. I'm gonna get us some New Year's Eve questions. Love her.
Yeah, look at this. Okay. So, I'm gonna go public.
Okay.
But I do need to tell people how to get here, because I don't know if they're gonna find their own way. Good. High quality view. Okay, we don't need cards. Good. Okay, and I'm recording on the computer too.
Whatever.
So. The only thing, let's do that, let's do that. Are you watching or am I watching? Could be yes, I don't know.
I don't think I'm watching.
Okay.
I did have it on my phone earlier though, unless it started up.
Maybe. I need the, how do I get the link? That's the only thing I need to figure out real quick before we get too far into this. Okay.
Not you. I really like how when we look at the TV, I can only see myself. It's, ugh. And then I don't have to worry about you.
What? Doodly doop. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, this is how our chat goes. Okay, that's good. I'll pause that there. I think I just have to go to events and share.
Do you think my shoulders look too fat?
No. Of course not. How do I share this event? Oops.
I feel like you're 10 years younger.
I know.
So old.
I think this is it.
I hope that's our thumbnail.
Ooh, here, we can, I think we can, hold on, let me do this. Actually, here, let's just do Lauren and Anthony's 2018 bash, yeah?
No, let's say, so we can make something that's like annual.
Okay.
Lauren Anthony's New Year's special? New Year's Eve special?
Sure. $2018?
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's on Anthony's, it's on my website with links. Let me fix that. So I think I can create a thumbnail. I'll get a good one. Okay. Change thumbnail. Here. Getting there. The file's too big. Okay, so this is just going to be it. This is going to be our first thumbnail.
I like it.
I do want to make sure. Okay, let me just look on. I want to see if I go to. Oh, why is it? Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Anthony.com links. I wonder if I can watch it from here. Oh yeah. Like we're live, we're out there.
Cool. It's so delayed.
Yeah. There's...
Okay. Is now the time to sing?
You can sing whenever you want.
Can you guys hear our dishwasher?
It's almost done, I think. I'm not sure
yet. It's not
yet.
almost done. I just started it.
You just started it?
Well...
You did tell me I could turn it off.
We need stuff for our supper later.
Should I put my jacket on? I feel...
No.
This is
my
good?
shoulders are bare. you will therefore be without a jacket. Also, guys, nobody asked, but I'm Batman.
Nobody has.
Look, I feel like they should know.
They should know. And now we all know.
He tried to tell me these were Batman sleeves, but you can't tell me that this doesn't have.
You shouldn't do that on TV.
I'll do it later when we actually get some people watching.
Yeah.
So, guys, welcome. This is, we don't really know what this is. It is loosely our first ever New Year's Eve special at 7:08 p.m. Eastern, because we don't stay up till midnight.
No.
Ever. And even for this, and that was kind of our plan.
I was up the other night, but I had, to be fair, I did take a 2-hour nap, like from 10 to midnight, and then I was up.
And I was not up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're like, oh, it'll be really fun. We'll do this whole New Year's Eve special. No, actually, we have to even go back further than that.
Yeah.
What we actually were planning to do tonight was, wait for it, go on a run. Specifically a 4-mile run.
That is true.
And it's raining. Remember
I know.
how I told you? I'm like, I'm going to do it, but like if it's snowing, if it's cold, fine. But if it's raining, I'm not going to do it. It is pouring down rain.
It is.
But we actually aborted the plan long before that. But that was our original New Year's Eve plan. We're like, we're going to cut off the new year healthy, and we're going to run 4 miles.
Well, you said that.
I said that. It was like
and then I was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. I'll join you.
It was basically like a command, because he runs faster than me, and I sometimes make him go ahead of me, and then I chase his shoes to make sure, like you set my pace.
When you say chase my shoes,
well,
like you sound like...
Yes, because you used to have these really bright yellow shoes, and those were great because then they were like a little beacon, and then you switched, and you had the ruby red Dorothy slippers, and those were also really bright, and so then I would follow those behind you. Now you're not as great of a beacon because they're gray or something, or black.
They're gray and green. I got them in Tennessee.
So and I don't want to chase those particular running shoes.
So, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to, if I want to go running, if I want you to join me in a run, I need to switch to yellow shoes.
Or red.
Or red.
Or bright. Like, I need something to entice me with
Okay.
it. I was also just thinking, how are we going to get this to tell people on Instagram? Can you send me that link?
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
We didn't plan ahead, guys. This is going to be a spontaneous, very fun for all of us. Don't mind while I check my phone.
This is going to be a good test to see if this even works.
Yeah. Hopefully nobody will see this, but maybe. But we got all gussied up for the occasion, as you can tell.
Well, you got gussied up. I didn't shave. Only because I was so excited to try out my new bow tie, and I put on the shirt and the tie, and it took me 2 hours. You were helping me. It took us 2 hours to learn how to tie a bow tie.
And we probably watched like 3 YouTube videos.
At least 6.
At least, yeah. Over and over. So there was 3 different ones on replay. And the second we couldn't understand one, we're like, no, they're not explaining it right. And then we would watch another one.
Well, yeah, they weren't.
No, some of them were not. And so finally we found this cheesy little diagram that was back on the first site that we ever looked at that totally made it clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the result of...
So once I got this done, I wasn't going to shave.
Yeah, this bow tie took longer than all of this, which is saying something because I don't wake up like this. So...
Yeah, and I woke up like this. This is exactly how I woke up. I mean, I washed my hair. But, what?
I just don't remember you taking a shower today, but you probably did.
I don't remember me taking a shower.
Oh. Well, we brushed our teeth at like 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Brushing it.
True.
Yeah, so he's going to send me the link, and then...
I did.
Okay, and then... Oh, that was you.
Well, who else is messaging you on New Year's Eve?
Patty.
Oh,
my
yeah.
mother-in-law
Let's send it to her.
Is jokingly, oh no, but I don't want someone I know. I'm not yet. I'm not ready for that.
Well, Pat, if you happen to watch this and catch up on it, we do want you to see this.
Maybe.
No,
when there's somebody that I know is watching this, then I get very nervous.
Okay.
Like, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna kick this off, leading into one of my discoveries about 2018. Is it too soon?
No, I don't know what it's too soon for.
This is relevant.
Did anybody get hurt?
I've had this. My feelings. I've had this dilemma on Instagram because I'm an author and I also do like writing tips and I do like blogging, but I'm also, like a person. And as a person, Lauren Lane is not my real name. As Lauren LeDonne, which is my real name, Lauren LeDonne is not on social media. I'm only on Instagram as Lauren Lane, which is my author persona. So everybody in my life, readers and personal life, follow me on Lauren Lane.
Right.
And I'm very, very aware that like friends or like acquaintances from high school or like distant relatives or former coworkers follow me on Instagram because they know me the person. And I was like, what, do they want to know my book updates? So I try to give them life updates. But then my readers don't really give a crap about, you know, what I'm doing for Christmas. They just want to know when the next book is coming out. And so it's this very odd back and forth. And one of my goals for 2019 is to not care about that.
Wait, back all the way up from the beginning.
So I'm trying. I have a dilemma when I'm posting to Instagram. Is this going to be something that my readers like, or that someone in my personal life likes? And I think my readers are the more flexible, like, because most of you readers, bless you, will also like the personal stuff because you like me as a person, hopefully, or at least kind of are interested in what I'm doing.
Right.
But a lot of people in my personal life, and I guess I'm calling some of you out here, don't like my book stuff. And then it hurts my feelings a little bit because I'm like, that's my life now. I'm like, I like all your friggin' baby pictures. Like, you have to like my book, baby. But a lot of you don't, and I guess my feelings hurt. And then I start like getting paranoid. I'm like, maybe I don't care about that. And should I create a separate account that's just my personal life? And I've decided to try to let it go this year. And I'm just going to post what I want to post on Instagram without worrying about who's going to like it.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying it now. I don't know how well it'll work, but it's my intent.
No, I think it's a great plan.
Thank you. Can you talk to the camera while I post about this on social media?
Just
to my readers and people in my personal life?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I have something for you to talk about, Anthony.
Okay.
I'm the elephant in the room.
Lord.
What happened
We don't want to talk.
to your cookbook?
Oh, my beautiful baby. Okay. So, since you don't know me, and I will never know you, let me give you the back.
Maybe you will.
I may know you, actually. I may already know you, or in the future. That would be weird. It'd be cool. But the long story short here is I had a cookbook. Should I explain the whole thing, do you think? Okay.
Yeah, go into like
Here's how it came
brief
about.
overview of what the whole, tell your story.
So in May of 2018, I was sitting by my computer, just waiting for new opportunities to come my way. And one of them did. Her agent actually emailed me and said, hey, Ant, would you be interested in writing a cookbook? It's about a comedian in New York who likes to cook. And it's a woman, and she's Jewish. And I said, I meet 3 out of the 5 requirements, or rather, I have 3 out of the 5 similarities. Is that going to be good enough? Also, my answer is obviously yes. So, fast forward a little bit, I put together a proposal for the publisher. It was this publisher's idea to write a cookbook about a TV show called The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It's an 8-time Emmy award-winning TV show. Happens to be pretty good. And I put together a proposal to see if our styles jive together. They liked it. I liked them. We decided to move forward. The only stipulation was that we had to crank this book out in about 3 months. A whole cookbook from scratch. So I binged watched the TV show. I'd never seen it before. But I binge watched. I feel
That's really honest.
Yeah, they're like, do you want to write a cookbook about this
heard of
TV
it.
show? Yes. What's the TV show? Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Great, I'll watch it. So I binge watched the TV show. I wrote down everything that they ate, that they drank, that they talked about eating and drinking, anything that was on set in whatever episodes. I wrote all that stuff down. And then I created recipes for every single one of them. Actually, that only filled me up to like maybe a third of the way through the book because I needed about 100 recipes, and that was maybe 30, 40 recipes, or 30, 40 food items. So I had to come up with options that, like, what would they have eaten? What would they have drank at that time? So then I came up with my list of 100. I came up with recipes for every single one of those things. And then I cooked, tested, and photographed everything.
That's going to be to entice you guys to come watch us.
That's a selfie right there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that my face looks terrible. Better.
Or should I have some champagne in the shot?
Yeah, can you take this? Your arms are long. You guys know the selfie game.
Yeah. Hold on a
and
second.
can you make sure that my neck doesn't... Oh, wait. My neck doesn't look so fat. That's better.
Good.
Does my neck look amazing?
It always looks amazing.
Good. Okay. Continue your story.
Okay.
You wrote all
So
these
Marvelous
recipes.
Mrs. Maisel, wrote it in 3 months. I had to ask for a 2-week extension. Do you want to retake it
No.
to center? Okay, good. Asked for an extension, 2 weeks, 3.5 weeks, or 3.5 months. I'm sorry. Crank this baby out. It gets through edits, and then they print 8,000 copies of this book in hardback. And then I get an email from my dad that said, hey, my order was canceled. Basically, Amazon canceled his order of my cookbook, and he had ordered, I don't know, probably 200 of them.
Probably most of them.
Yeah,
most of the inventory.
I think he was all my
He's
pre-orders.
good about that.
But anyway, his order was canceled. I got a text message from my friend Andrew. His was canceled. Basically, everybody's orders started coming in. I got messages on Instagram, and they were like, dude, what's the deal? I forwarded all of them to my editor. She's like, I don't know. Let me figure it out. Now, this long story short is Amazon Studios basically said no. From a trademark copyright perspective, I think.
Amazon Studios produces a show.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is not by like NBC or ABC or Netflix like many of them are. It's a little bit more unique in that it's an Amazon TV show.
Right.
So they actually produce it.
Yeah. Which, okay, so some backstory here. So anyway, long story short, I think it's the 5th time I've said that so far.
Right, you do say it a lot. So it's in a good way.
Yeah.
But your long stories are never really short.
But they're also never boring. Yeah, so they put the kibosh on it. We had to incinerate all my books. So there was 8,000 of these hardcover bound.
One.
I didn't even get to see one in real life. I have a PDF of the entire book. That's all. I have the outside cover in one PDF, and then I have the entire interior in another PDF. And that's the only thing I have to show for this friggin' book that I spent 3.5 months on nonstop. I gave up stand-up spots. I gave up other opportunities. It was I'm a little bit bummed, but
he was a trooper though. Like everybody that we told about this is kind of outraged. Like to think that you could actually write an entire cookbook that wasn't even your idea. Like the publisher comes to you, and you write it, and you're like, okay, let's do this, and you do it in record time, and it turns out amazing. And then it's like, by the way, it's not happening.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. And then it just dies, and you can't get that time back. You can't get back the missed opportunities, and you have no cookbook to show for it. Not even one. That's all we wanted was like something. Okay, I get it. We can't sell it without getting in legal trouble, but just have one for a bookshelf to like remember that he put in all this work. We don't even have that.
I know. It's terrible. So that's what happened to the cookbook. So I'm still working with the publisher to figure out what happened, what's to happen with all the recipes and all the photographs and that kind of thing, because it did represent a significant amount of my time for 2018.
Yep.
1/4 of it. So anyway, that's what happened to my book. Otherwise, I would be like auctioning off copies right now, or just giving them away, really. So yeah, that's what happened.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
Per my request. But if I share this and say come chat with us live, is that accurate? Can they chat with us live on this?
Yes.
If I say link in profile.
Yeah, and you gave them that link.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait for it, guys. Soon everybody's going to know about
They're
this.
going to come flooding in.
It's going to be so great.
We have 0 watching right now.
Well, I should watch this myself, so we at least have that.
Yes, we have the 1.
Okay, you're going to be my test with this, Anthony. I'm posting this. Okay.
Okay.
Now then, if you look at my story.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Don't mind us, guys.
We're just
Don't
working.
you love how we did this before we started? And then link in profile.
Okay.
And then click that.
Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Hold on.
And fat fingers.
Watch our live New Year's Eve video. It's right now. Like, that's the thing. Yep.
But then how come it's not? Oh, it's just delayed.
It starts from the beginning. And then they can hit... Oh, yeah, no, it is live. Yeah. This is great. I love it. It looks like... So viewers have the option to go back in time. I mean, like... they have to go 88 miles an hour, and then
go back in time.
Yeah,
It's not worth it.
We lost 2,000 people. They went back in time, and they'll never be here again.
Okay, so let's...
So yeah, that works. It takes them almost live, which is fun.
Let's get my back... Why didn't I tag you? No, you can't reshare.
Oh, F. Well, why don't you send me the picture?
Okay. Guys, hang in there, hang in there.
Just
we still don't
airdrop
have
it.
anyone watching it. So
No, we don't. It's fine. We're good.
Perfect.
Don't mind the dishwasher in the background. It just hit the heavy cycle. Kind of like... Okay.
Wait. I see the page. What?
Nothing. I didn't say anything. I thought that would have been a funny joke. But then I thought, maybe not.
There we go.
This is great.
Okay, so now if you guys are wondering why we're doing this, we don't really know. We just thought it would be fun. And I'm going to be honest here. I like to read a lot about like on marketing, what's happening on the interweb, and like what's doing well, and like our Facebook groups in or out. And I hate Facebook, so I don't care if they're in or out. But one thing that keeps coming up over and over again is that video is really, really popular, which has been a little bit odd for me because I'm not a huge video person. Like I rarely go on YouTube unless I'm looking for something really specifically. But apparently it is a good way to find new people. So we're trying out this video thing and we thought New Year's Eve would be a great time to do it. Why? Because even though we don't stay up until midnight, we really like things that are sparkly. I like things that are sparkly.
I love things that are sparkly.
And we love champagne.
Champagne.
That's kind of sparkly. And also, it's perfect. Our favorite color is black, both of us. His website's black. My website is black. So it fits that New Year's Eve with all the black sparkly goodness is perfect for us. So we're going to do this for as long as we feel like it. It's definitely not going to be until midnight, not even East Coast. So definitely Pacific Coast people. It's what, 4-ish where you are. You're just getting an early dose, and we're probably going to cut it randomly when we get hungry. And that'll be the end of it. But until then, we're going to be talking about, just kind of our year in review. We're going to talk a little bit about what we have in 2019. I'm going to have Anthony read a portion from one of my upcoming books.
Well,
just a little snippet.
Yeah, and I've got to write down one of my bits for you.
Well, but you didn't do that ahead of time, so if you can't do that, then
I'll do it.
I guess we can't do that.
I think it's only fair.
If you guys log in, no pressure if you don't. Again, this is the first for us, and I know it's probably a little boring as we find our way. But feel free to leave comments, and Anthony will do his best to monitor those. So
yeah, that's my job. That's all I'm here to do is just monitor the comments and then feed them to Lauren.
So we are having champagne.
Yes.
Because it's New Year's Eve, and also we drink champagne. I have like makeup on my face that I keep seeing in this TV. Oh, I flicked them off in this TV. Do I?
You're so pretty.
Okay.
You're so pretty.
So this is champagne, and we love champagne always, every day.
Who does? I don't know who doesn't.
Well, I know. I think a lot of people like champagne, except my mom. But I think
your mom doesn't.
A lot of people don't necessarily love as much is that it's a special.
Hangover.
Yeah.
French people.
A lot of people say that champagne gives them hangovers. I'm like, just don't drink so much. But regardless. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, like most people in our circle think of it as being a special occasion wine. Like it has to be New Year's Eve or a birthday or a wedding. And it doesn't have to be. And I think in America it tends to be a special occasion wine. I think other parts of the world it's just a different type of wine. It's sparkly. But we do have to have it on New Year's Eve because it is a holiday. So this is Paul Roger, which is our favorite. No, is this Paul Roger?
It is Paul Roger?
This is Paul Roger, which is our favorite, and it's actual champagne.
Right.
And I say that because a little lesson that we didn't know until a couple years ago. Champagne, we use it sort of to describe anything that's like poured in that's sparkly, that you drink in this sort of glass. Champagne is actually only called champagne if it's from the Champagne region of France.
Right.
Which is basically only the kind of expensive stuff. So if you've gone to the grocery store and if you've gotten Andres or Prosecco or, you know, any of those.
The black label that's like with the X's in it, Shira, Tella Shira.
Yeah, or even like Mum, which is delicious. It's from Napa. Johnny Chandon, also from Napa, also delicious. Those are actually not champagnes. We call them that, but those are actually sparkling wines. So now you know.
I think you can't even put that on the label.
You can't.
But Corbel does.
That's tricky. Well, I wonder if because...
I think they pay the fine or whatever it is.
Oh.
Like I don't know. Somebody told me that, and they were drinking champagne at the time, and that I believed them.
So technically, you were not supposed to unless it's from champagne. So if you want actual champagne, you have to look at your bottle of sparkling wine, and it will say champagne on there.
If we had a Venn diagram of sparkling wine. Okay, so am I venting or are you venting?
You're venting.
Okay. Well, here's the Venn diagram of all sparkling wine with bubbles. champagne is a small part of it. We'll see.
I thought the diagrams are the circles.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to do a circle. I can't do a circle
This
with
is an inverted.
forearms.
I thought you were doing a triangle. I thought you were doing like a reverse.
No, okay, a
pyramid.
Venn. It is actually an important. Champagne is an important part of the adult diet.
The biggest part.
Yeah, exactly. It's at the top. No, but a Venn diagram can come in any shape.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Just tell them why you're talking about the diagram.
Well, because
Tell me.
champagne is all champagne is sparkling wine, but not all sparkling wine is champagne.
Okay. I feel like you could have said that without the hand motions.
I wanted to help people out in understanding the world.
Okay. All right.
Do people know that they can leave comments? You can leave comments if you have questions about
I
champagne.
think they probably come
about
and
Venn
leave because
diagrams.
you're doing the Venn diagram. So, all right. So now, do you want to talk about 2018? Or are you still working your bow tie?
No, I fixed it. It's good. It took me 2.5 hours to fold this thing.
Yeah, if you guys missed the story, this single part here, this bow tie, took both of us all of our brain powers and all of YouTube for us to figure out how to do this. And the funny thing is, you can buy like pre-tied bow ties, like apparently pretty readily.
Every
and
tie.
nice brands.
Yeah.
And so we got one by accident and we're like, no, that's trash. We're
Should I
going to get
tell
a real
them
bow tie.
what it was?
Sure.
Okay, I got a fancy bow tie from Tom Ford.
Yeah, we got a Tom Ford bow tie because we knew we were doing this fancy thing, and we thought it was going to be, or it was sort of an anniversary gift.
I was
Tom
a little
Ford
bit tipsy when I ordered it.
Yeah, and Tom Ford's not super cheap, and we're like, oh, it'll be a perfect anniversary gift. Our anniversary was yesterday.
Yeah,
12
happy
years,
anniversary.
happy anniversary. But it was this Tom Ford bow tie.
I'm trying to
I'm in the middle of a really good
keep
story.
going. I'll
So
drink.
we had the Tom Ford bow tie. We got it, and it was one of the pre-tied ones, and we were not having it. And we thought we ordered the wrong one, so we took it to the Tom Ford store
Yeah.
on Madison Avenue. We were being all fancy, and they didn't actually even have a real one.
Yeah, they said, what's the problem? And I'm like, there's no problem. I just want one that doesn't come tied with Tom's knot. Did that sound as weird outside as it did
it did a little
inside?
bit.
Okay.
So we got that, and we were mad. We were mad on Madison Avenue, and we're like, forget this. We decided to go shopping. Went to Bergdorf's, which is, again, not a cheap store. I don't know why we couldn't just get a cheap bow tie.
We could have.
We could have, but by this time we were like, no. And this was our actual anniversary that we were shopping, so we're like, we're going to get the real deal. So we marched into Bergdorf's, found the bow tie. And long story short, we basically ambushed this woman because they had like one little section of bow ties and they were all tied, and we wanted one that was not pre-tied. And so she had explained to us, the ignorant people that never had a bow tie before, that in this particular set, they just tie them for display purposes, but then you can actually untie it.
Yeah.
So we get the untied version, like all proud of ourselves, like, yes, we got a real bow tie.
I was so ready, like, I'm a man now,
Yeah.
finally.
I can finally love him now. He has a real bow tie, his first ever. Fast forward to this morning, we're getting ready for this situation, and tying a bow tie was a lot.
Holy
It was
F.
so hard. Like, you know, he can tie a regular tie. I can actually tie a regular tie. We're like, yeah, this will be no problem.
Yeah.
It was a big problem.
Yeah, I watched a couple of videos and I'm like, pretty sure I can nail this. And then I go into the bathroom in front of the mirror and I'm like, I get halfway done, I'm feeling real good. And then I get to the part where they do this thing and I'm like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah, they tell you in all the videos, so like, and here's the tricky part, and then it's like,
Yeah, it's
and
just
then it becomes
it's
a bow
a
tie.
flurry of dust
yeah.
and silk. Yeah, that's it. So I did the part where I tied the knot and put the parrot on my shoulder.
That's the thing.
And then you
You
fold
put
the
a parrot
fish.
on your shoulder.
Yeah, you put the parrot on your shoulder, I folded the fish, and then elephant trunked down.
Yeah.
But
And
then they
you
don't have an animal.
Pinch the elephant's ears.
Yeah, you pinch the elephant's ears, and then you jack his trunk in half, like you fold it around back, and that's where they just like say,
They don't even
just
tell
like
you
this.
that. They're just like, you take the elephant's trunk, and then it's like ping, and it becomes a bow tie.
Yeah.
And we really did spend an
They
hour.
didn't show you the magic wand that they do to just tap it on
Yeah.
there and then poof.
Yeah, so we're pretty mad about that, but we got it, and we're never taking this bow tie off because it was
No.
such an effort.
I'm going to be buried in this shirt and tie.
Maybe tonight.
Hopefully.
Maybe tonight, we don't know.
Then I wouldn't have to wear it that long.
So I've actually gotten 2 messages on my phone since
Yeah.
we started this
Uh-oh.
from people asking, no, not related to this, asking if we're doing the ball drop in in Times Square.
No.
So first of all,
maybe Brazil or Argentina.
We used to live really close. So you know the ball drop in Times Square. It's like a big, huge New Year's Eve thing.
Yeah.
So we used to live very close to that, like about, I don't know, 5-minute walk-ish.
Yeah.
So it was always a little bit chaotic. And we've since moved a little bit further away. It's still within walking distance. But we will never do the Times Square ball drop. And I'm going to tell you guys that you should never do it ever. Either.
No.
And it's probably on some of your guys' bucket list, but I'm going to tell you this horror story. So our first year moving to New York, we had some friends that had moved in the same neighborhood, and they moved roughly at the same time. And they were bolder than us, and they're like, oh, we're going to do this, right? Like, we live right here, why not? Long story short, you have to stand in line for hours, which you kind of see like when you watch it on TV and you see like the people in line at 6 a.m. and they're all like jacked up. Think about that for a second. You have to be in line since 6 a.m. if not before.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
And there's no bathrooms.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's no bathrooms. Like people literally will wear diapers to these things, adult diapers, because you can't get out of line.
Well,
and if you get in line, that's typical. So if you get out of line, then you can't. You
can't get back in.
So you can't really eat or drink, presumably, because you can't use the restroom.
You can't see.
You can't see
The ball.
And
you
then,
can't see the ball.
So our friends, they had like, normal 9 to 5-ish jobs. They got off work early. They got there around 4 p.m. 4 p.m. They were like 6 blocks away. This is 4 p.m., right? The ball doesn't drop until midnight. They were like 6 blocks away, and they were, or further even.
Yeah, but when they first started and they were that far back, they had a view of one of the giant TVs. So they were actually broadcasting the ball drop. So they were in a better view there. But then do you remember when they said, because so many people had left, the cops were like, all right, let's bring people forward. Mm-hmm. And they crowd directed people, that's a thing now. They crowd directed people down closer to the ball, and they lost their view of the TV and they couldn't see the ball.
Right, and you crammed in so tightly, like she couldn't, our friend Samantha couldn't even get her phone out of her pocket because you're crammed in with all these people. So you're there, you can't even like take a picture of it. Robert had vomit on his shoes because some people
barfed on his feet.
And you can't get away from it because you're packed in there like sardines. So the moral of this, why are we telling this? The moral of the story is,
no.
Of course we are not at the ball drop. And also don't go because it sounds terrible. Like watch it from TV, honestly. And also it's raining in New York right now. It's like kind of a lot for the first time in 24 years. So if you are...
Not the first rain ever in 24 years. The first rain on New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
it's been dry.
Yes.
It's been a bit of a dry spell.
We're not at the ball drop.
No.
Yeah. Anybody asking?
Hello to the 3 people that are watching right now.
Guys.
Welcome. We're so glad you could join us.
Thanks for bearing with us as we learn how to do video.
Yeah, this is our first ever Instagram live.
Yeah. Well, it's not Instagram, it's YouTube.
I'm sorry. It's our first ever. Can we actually scrub that? It's our first ever YouTube live stream. Is live stream 1? Do I have to live? Okay.
So enough of that. We could do live by design.
Oh yeah, to the 3 people that are watching, if you have a question, drop it in the comments. We'll get it.
Well, now they know because there's only 3. They're going to feel very called out. So don't feel like you have to comment. We're just going to keep talking, and you can bail anytime. No hard feelings.
Yeah.
But one thing we are going to talk about a little bit because it is New Year's Eve is sort of how 2018 went.
Oh.
Do you need to use the restroom?
I'm good.
Okay. Remember, if you do, just excuse yourself and don't have gas here.
I don't need to go anymore.
Okay. So, great. So, yes on 2018 review?
Yeah, let's do it. 2018 review.
Do you want to start it?
Oh, we scared the 3 away. Now there's only 1. Yeah.
Typical.
Yeah. You just want me to like go through the days of the year and what do we review? You want to review like from the Light by Design thing?
I thought you would know.
Well, okay, so some backstory on why she even brought up the question of, do you want to talk about the review of 2018?
Very deep here.
Yeah. Every year, for the past 10 years, 12 years?
No.
2 years?
A few years.
Time is meaningless.
Several.
We've gone through a review process of the year and then a planning process for the upcoming year. And she... actually made it. You made this planning tool. It's a kit. You actually sell it on your website now.
Well, yeah. So it's actually when we first started, it was a bunch of different sources that I found online. Just sort of like freebie questions that were like reflection questions, how to set goals. Actually, no. Backing up even before that, we just did the good old fashioned like resolutions. Like, hey, it's the end of the year, and we did the typical like we're gonna lose weight and we're going to eat
Did
vegetables.
you ever write them down and then burn them?
No.
I noticed my cousin Vinny did that. And
I didn't know that was a thing.
When I was a kid, my mom we used to do that as well.
No.
Yeah, you write your New Year's
intense.
resolutions down, you throw them in the sink and burn them, and then you forget about them forever.
Oh, well, okay, we didn't do that.
No, that's usually how it pans out.
Okay, so we didn't do that.
No.
We wrote them down, and we did like the old-fashioned resolutions, and they never really worked for us. You know, like to an extent, we did the thing where January 1st, we go to the gym, and by
Right.
January 8th, we're like, no.
Well, it's so crowded
Where's
at that
some
time.
cheese?
It's like, oh. Well.
So yeah, we didn't do that, and then
Yeah.
so it took us a couple of years and a couple different methods, and we eventually started getting a little bit, instead of setting specific like resolutions, like I'm going to do this, it was a little bit more like what do we want out of life and what wasn't so great about the year that just passed, and yeah, sort of more big picture stuff, and it expanded and expanded and expanded, and I started with just like a couple like questions, and then it became like a couple pages, and then it was like a mini notebook, and then it turned into a binder.
Yeah.
And long story short, starting last year, it's actually a product that I sell now. It's called Life by Design, and it's the culmination of 10 years, whatever it is, of my whole year in review process. And I make him do it with me. Now he's actually excited. At first it was like mandatory, like we're gonna plan our year. But yeah, so now we get very structured with it actually. And we usually we make it kind of fun though. So it's not like a, you know, like sit down and like, how many pounds are we gonna lose? Like we usually go out, we'll have a glass of wine, we have our binder, we take our favorite pens, notebooks, that whole thing. And yeah, we do just sort of a general, like, what did we love? What did we not love? It started as, I don't know if I can swear on this, but one thing that I borrowed from someone a long time ago,
I think you can.
was the, I'm gonna not say it, was the OF list. Right? And that was all the, oh God, like that actually happened. It was everything that was bad.
Yeah.
And when you actually approach it that way, then it's not so much you have this, you're not like idealizing what you want your life to be. You're looking very much like what your life actually is, specifically the things that you didn't love. And then one thing I eventually added to that was what I call the F yeah list. And now I've changed them. I think I now have like the celebration list and something else. Just because it's a little bit more clear, where you talk about all the things that were really good.
Right.
So yeah, we did that, and then it eventually we did theme words. That's a huge part of it for me. We turned it like however your goals evolve.
Do you want to share your theme word?
Well, that's like
Or do you
way
wanna...
late in the process.
Okay.
Yeah, but
well,
I mean, we can.
No, I didn't know if you wanted
How
to.
long we're doing this?
We can do it however long we want. It's 7:40. We've been doing
like
this.
We're boring people. We lost 2 already.
That's the beauty about these things, though, is people can tune in, they can tune out.
Okay.
They apparently do this on their computers now. Yeah, they drop a comment if you want, if you have a question, or if you want to say you suck.
We'll just delete it.
Yeah. Oh, hey, somebody said they got the Life by Design notebook this year.
Yay.
It's fabulous and very inspiring.
Thank you. That actually that makes
Margot
me feel.
Roberts.
Who?
Margot Roberts said, hi.
Oh, Margot!
Yeah.
Margot. You know you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome. Good to have you.
Friend. No, that actually makes me feel very, very good because, and I think I even mentioned this in the Life by Design workbook, but it's one of those things where it's actually more vulnerable to put that out into the world than it is to put my books out, because the Life by Design is like actually like me, and it's my process, and it's what I do, and it kind of feels like I'm literally like digging into my soul, and like this is how I actually plan my life and how I feel, and then you put it out there and it's slightly terrifying.
Yeah.
So thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That makes me feel really good. And I'm not going to go through my whole Life by Design, and this is actually an abbreviated version of my notebook. It's so much prettier than his notebook, I'm just going to say.
Well, I mean, you've been studying, you've been practicing your lettering, the
That's
the
true.
scripting thing.
I do try to be artsy. I used to be really into scrapbooking back in the day, but now we don't really have room for scrapbooking stuff in our tiny apartment. But so I'm not going to read all of my 2018 lessons, because some of them do involve other people in my life that I need to have that conversation with, and I haven't yet, so I'm not going to answer that in here. But a couple things I will share.
What's going on?
Hold on. This one. I feel like I need to talk to my agent about that one first. Nick, if you're watching, we'll have a chat soon. Not bad for you. But one thing I learned is that I quit Facebook in May of this year, And actually, as a side note, I also left Twitter, I was never really big on Twitter anyway, so it was like, why not? And it's sort of one of the best things I think that I have ever done. And I've been happier. It was just a really great thing. But I have found myself, like now that I'm like so happy and like Facebook, I can now focus on Instagram. Facebook just stressed me out a little bit. It's never been my jam, even before I became an author. But I found myself just like a little tiny bit thinking like, oh, I guess I could go back on Facebook and maybe do, you know, a Facebook group. How bad would that be? And then I remind myself, you didn't like Facebook. So I put here in big letters, I love my life without Facebook. And really my intent here is, as I'm sort of like going throughout the year and floundering, like what was something that was really good about this year. And it was really that I left Facebook, and it's allowed me to focus on other things. I've been writing more. Instagram has been big for me. Yeah, it's just left me feeling more creative and happier, and sort of branching out. If any authors are watching this, I found a lot more like creative options and creative ways of spreading the word about my book than Facebook, which is the default. So that's been a good thing.
Well, the cool part is you can kind of do it your own way then, and you control all of that information and how it gets disseminated, as opposed to dumping it into some other. I mean, granted, we still use Instagram, which is part of, but
that's true.
Like Instagram to me just feels nicer than Facebook. Like
Facebook is ugly, but
there's a lot less like coming at you, and a lot less. You know, you can easily choose the stuff that you follow and unfollow and stuff like that.
And the other thing about being go ahead.
I was gonna say we have a question.
Okay, yes.
Do you want to finish this idea first though, and then tackle that?
Oh, Becca. Hi, Becca. No, ask me a question.
Okay, so Margo would like to know, what are you guys working on in 2019?
Margo, so many things. Okay, so 2019, I don't even know where to start. Okay, so 2019 is actually sort of exciting because I'm still writing romance. That's kind of a given. But I've actually been dancing around a little bit the idea, and I've done this for a couple years, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it. And that's expanding Lauren Lane brand a little bit. So I have the Life by Design stuff, but I love blogging a lot. Like I don't necessarily need to get like really like deep on the blog, but I enjoy talking about my life, showing pictures of our apartment. I enjoy stuff like this. I enjoy talking about makeup, my favorite perfume, champagnes that I'm loving. And for some reason, I've always been really hesitant to like even go that route because, again, it comes back to what I was talking about earlier of being very paranoid. Like some people don't want to hear about my books at all because they're there to get my life updates because they've known me since I was 12. And then other people just want to know like, when's Kennedy's book coming out? And so I've always been so paranoid and dancing around like, how do I balance that? And I've decided 2019, I'm like, F that, I'm just going to talk about what I want to talk about. So that means, yeah, the Instagram feed will be a little bit more varied. It'll have plenty of book stuff, but also other stuff. I'm going to be blogging daily, knock on wood. There will be big blog posts, but they'll be like looks at upcoming books. And I really want to direct people to my website. That's been another big thing. Just because my website's fabulous, and also stuff on a website lives forever, whereas on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, it's there for like a hot minute and then it becomes old news. So I'm doing that in 2019. I'm also, so how many people are in here? Just a couple. I have my first self-published book coming out in 2019. Mm-hmm. So that's really exciting. Haven't really widely announced that yet. It'll be out in July. It's titled The Prenup, and that's all I'm going to say about it because I don't really have the official blurb yet.
I'm really excited about the idea.
Yes, I'm really excited about it too. And yeah, it'll be my first self-published. I don't have an official release date. Like I said, probably July. So yeah, that's kind of my year. More blogging, self-publishing. Anthony, what about you? I've been hijacking our whole party here.
I totally copied the idea of blogging every day from you as well. I kind of came up with, so I want to do I say this now. I would like to do an everyday blog post, like schedule them out in advance, but basically have one day a week dedicated to different things I'm interested in, and hopefully sharing that information with other people who are interested in that kind of thing. So for instance, cocktails and cocktail recipes, cooking recipes, the city, like things to do in New York, just fun stuff, what to do when you're here, if it's even just for tourists coming here, that's great. Comedy, like posting either about my shows, posting new material Mondays is a thing I kind of want to do where This also feels really scary to do though, where like I'll write new material. The idea of New Material Monday is to write new material and then to tape myself or to record myself and basically publish a video of me performing that just in my house, in my home here. But it's brand new material, no laugh track, nothing, unproven. But I like the idea of showing other people like, this is how a joke, this is the evolution of a joke, basically.
Yes, actually that's one thing I think to answer the question, what are we doing in 2019? I think 2019 we're going a little bit more behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Which we've always, like I've done at least a little bit and I like that part of it. But one thing we really love about our life is that it is a creative lifestyle. Like we're cookbook authors and writers and we want to write a screenplay and I do like my lettering and we're talking about a podcast. So we have, oh yeah, it's another.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
But yeah, so we have like all these things that we want to do and really like, what does it look like to sort of like branch into that? And in my world, I'm already kind of established as an author, but like, what is the process of growing in that? And like, what are the ups and downs? And just sort of opening the door, is that the right phrase? You know, like.
The kimono.
Yikes.
No, that's
okay.
like the phrase of like getting behind the scenes, like opening the kimono. It's a little graphic. I mean, you know, depending on how creepy you say it.
My kimono, these things.
You want to open the kimono.
But yeah, we're kind of letting people in a little bit and doing some behind the scenes. So yeah, I'll be talking more about my writing process, the ups and downs, sort of some of the bad things about publishing, the good things, the highs, the lows. Yeah. I'm actually, one thing that I get a lot of questions on, I'm finally going to talk about it, is the bestseller lists. So
that's always me asking her.
Like I was dying to know when I was first starting out, like what does it take to get on the USA Today or the New York Times bestseller list? And nobody talks about it. Like I don't know why. It's like very, maybe I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I will be.
We hear a knock at the door.
Oh gosh, sorry. But you know, stuff like that I just think like readers maybe find interesting, fellow writers definitely I think find interesting. So yeah, we'll be doing a lot of that. And oh what?
Oh, I'm just getting back to the daily blog thing and then...
Well, but I was going to go back to your thing for 1 second.
Yeah.
For watching. So all those things that he described, basically what he, I think, should do, and it has a name, is a lifestyle blogger.
Yeah.
And I know, so if you're a female, you probably know what that is. If you're a millennial female, you definitely know what that is. But it's sort of like they don't have a lot of guys doing it. Like what do the men do? Like, how do the men dress? And like, how to make a cocktail? And I don't know, what kind of sheets do you own? Or... the guys maybe don't care about that, but I mean, like, why wouldn't they care about that?
Yeah, I think more and more are.
Like, yeah, just sort of discussing.
I think you had GQ as like the main way of doing it, but now I think there's a few more places on the internet, like a few more blog type things that are doing that, but I don't know. So anyway, that's what I'm doing, is a blog post a day in 7 different categories. I got through, let's see, cooking, cocktails, comedy, stuff to do in the city.
Photography.
Oh yeah, photography stuff. I'm kind of a camera dork, so that's another C word. Yeah, like even talking about the setup that we have here right now, posting, like just taking some behind the scenes photos, doing that. Anyway, so blogging every day is one thing I'd like to do in 2019, batching them up, scheduling them. I've already got a few weeks done. Leaning in on comedy and stand-up and writing. I actually, yeah, like just focusing on doing that with more of my time. So publicizing more of my shows down at Gotham Comedy Club, writing more material. I want to film my own stand-up special sometime before the end of the year. My initial goal was doing it in the first quarter, but I think I'm going to have to push it back to the first half so I can write in the first quarter, film in like the second quarter, and then edit. But I really want to just publish my own or shoot my own comedy special because I think it'd be kind of fun, and I don't want to have to wait for Netflix and like that to work.
Yes, that's one thing. Are we done with your C's?
Yeah.
So in addition to letting people into our world, I think we're just gonna like break a few rules, like stuff that other people aren't doing or you're not supposed to do. Like you're not supposed to talk about the comedy process or the writing process until you're, you know, Nora Roberts or Jerry Seinfeld. But we're like, you know, maybe people want to know what it's like at our level where we're not quite like superstars yet, but we've done our research. We know what we're doing. This is kind of like we enjoy it. It's our passion. Why not talk about it?
Yeah.
So, do we have any more questions?
We do have a bunch more.
I don't want to just keep steamrolling.
I know. We spent like 20 minutes on Margot's question about what we're doing in 2019.
Sorry, Margot just wanted like one sentence. Like,
I know.
Wow.
Like, what's the bullet pointed list? Can we just shorten that down?
We'll put it on the blog later.
Yeah, I think this might answer somebody else's question. I do still want to publish a cookbook this year. I do have an idea that I'm working on. But to answer somebody else's question, No, it will not be the same cookbook that I worked on before. That book is dead in the water. It was printed on, they made 8,000 hardcover copies of the book, and then Amazon put the kibosh on, Amazon Studios put the kibosh on publishing that and selling it, and they had to pulp them.
Right, that book is dead. Just bring you guys up to speed because we babbled a little about it earlier. That one is dead for legal reasons. So nothing he did, nothing with the book. Like basically, the publisher and Amazon Studios are having legal negotiations, which Amazon's essentially won because the book's not happening. So that's really what happened.
It might be over.
Yeah, it's not getting published.
Yeah, 3.5 months worth of work, cooking, food, calories and inches, love handles, and photography down the drain. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I basically, the way I look at it is I now know how to write a cookbook.
Yeah. Good practice.
Yeah, it was great practice.
Yeah, he's been a trooper about it. I said earlier, like, everybody else is way more bad than he is. He's kind of like, eh. I mean, it sucks. But at some point, too, like, we can't undo it. We're not going to go in there swinging with the legal team we don't have. So
where are they?
Yeah, at some point you have to accept that this is what happens.
Yeah. Okay, a couple questions here, just while we did it.
Yes, I am wearing Spanx, and yes, they are digging into my ribcage.
Margot also asked, do you plan on releasing a Life by Design workbook every year, Lauren? And are you working on another cookbook, Anthony? Well, I just answered the cookbook thing, yes?
Yes, yes is the answer to that. And I'm also working on one. So the one that I released just this past year was very much holiday focused, or end of the year, I should say. Like it's very much end of 2018, looking at 2019, and the pictures in there were very like holiday themed. So I will be working on one that's a little bit more at any time of the year, because you never know when you're going to want to like quit your job, or maybe you lose your job, or you just want a fresh start. And it doesn't necessarily have to happen in December, in January. So yes, is the answer to that question.
Yeah. Margot also asked, forgive us for focusing on Margot's questions, just like dumped a whole bunch in there real quick.
We love it.
And they were great questions.
Thank you, Margot.
Yeah,
thanks for giving us something to talk about.
Exactly. Makes it so much easier. Lauren, can you tell us a little bit about the new series starting in May?
Well, yes, I can. I happen to have the first book right here. It's called Passion on Park Avenue. And actually, I'm so excited. So some of you guys maybe know I have a book coming out before this one. So this comes out on May 28th. My other book comes out on February 12th. And yet somehow I have this one. I've had it for about a month, and I haven't even seen, if you guys are wondering, like, why is there nothing on NetGalley and we haven't seen any print copies? It's because I haven't either. So this one is way ahead of schedule. But this is basically, it was inspired a little bit by, and it's not a very good movie, so it's a very loose inspiration, but the movie The Other Women, I think it's called, with Cameron Diaz and can't remember the other people, but basically three women that were all unknowingly seeing the same guy. This is sort of a take on this, but it's a little bit more of like a dark comedy in that they meet at the guy's funeral.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun, but then they become friends, and it's sort of them dealing not only with the fact that their husband, boyfriend, whatever, was having an affair with all these other women, but also that he's now dead. And, you know, they have different reactions to that. So obviously the wife is now a widow, so she's in mourning. One of them's a little less sympathetic, and it's just sort of fun. It's very, very New York. So if you liked Stiletto, I think you will like this series. It's written in third person instead of first person. So it's written in third person, and it's very much, it's set in the Upper East Side. So the titles, which I haven't announced, this one's Passion on Park Avenue. The second is Love on Lexington Avenue. And the third, and my favorite, is Marriage on Madison Avenue. So it's like the ultimate New York, sort of Sex and the City-ish in terms of vibe. And the covers all have this style. It's obviously a different cover style. For me, it's illustration, I guess you would call, cartoony, and all three of them will look like this, as opposed to having kind of like the sexy couple. I don't know why they look like a lion. Sexy. The sexy couple.
That was your lion?
I don't know. It was like a safari animal, or maybe like a dinosaur.
Yeah, it looks like a little T-Rex or something.
So T-Rexes. But okay, what's the next question?
Different kind of romance. All right. And then she also asked, if you could write your own book, AL, what type of book would it be? Two types of books that I really want to write. One is another cookbook. I really like the idea of, what I'm working on right now is like side dishes, small plates kind of tapas, but without the word tapas because most people don't know what that means, I think. But like stuff instead of just, you know, a roast. Because I get bored of that sometimes, and I think we do here. But just like cooler, more interesting, more fun side dishes.
Well, and we usually, when we go out, we usually sit at the bar, and we almost always just get appetizers, and we split them. And those are sometimes, I think, like the best part is like the burrata or the chicken wings or the like fancy nachos, whatever it is. Like that's always our favorite part of the meal. We don't necessarily want to get like the chicken and the steak. And nobody's really doing how to do that at home. Like those kind of like small, shareable, fun things.
Right. So that's what I want to do. So, and then I also really want to write, I don't know how to, like a humor book, but like a memoir style book, kind of like funny essays. I think of like when I was growing up, I read a lot of Dave Barry books. Jim Gaffigan has a bunch out now. A lot of comedians
Tina Fey's Bossy Pants is a good one.
Exactly, yeah. Even Amy Schumer's book or Sebastian Maniscalco's. Like I like those both. I like the memoir style, but then I also like the funny essay ones. And I think, I mean, I'm not old enough. Maybe I'm old enough to have a memoir style, but like lessons I've learned. Like I want to write that and share that with the world. So those are the two books I want to write.
How old are you, Anthony?
I'm 35.
35. I'm 35 too.
Right? I'm 35. We're 35.
36. No, 35. 35.
Yeah, we're 35.
I'm actually big. This is a total side topic. I'm a big fan of sharing my age because I find that people don't, and then it puts this weird stigma on getting older, and I don't like that. So I talk about how old I am.
35 proud.
I'm 35. I wrote my first book when I was 27. It was first published. No, I was 28, and it was first published when I was 31 or 30-ish. So yeah, that's my life timeline for anybody wondering.
Marla, thank you. I'm glad you love our Christmas tree.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, do you want to talk? They probably want to talk about my Christmas tree.
Well, I'm sure.
Okay, I'll do a short version of my Christmas tree. So I'm very, very intense on how I decorate my tree, a little overly so. And so my first ever Christmas tree, and I got this from my mom, who has very elegant trees in her living room. So we used to have two Christmas trees. Our family room Christmas tree, which was like all the popsicle stick ones and like all the sentimental ones. And then there was the living room tree that was her ornaments, and she always did pink and gold. And when I got my first Christmas tree, we had just gotten married. We were we got married when we were 23.
12 years ago.
Yeah, so it was right before, it was actually right before our wedding. Because we were married on December 30th, so the Christmas right before that. I had my first ever Christmas tree that was mine, and we didn't have any like personal sentimental ornaments, so I was just buying like cheap ones at Target. And I wanted to have one like my mom, so I did a color scheme, and I did red and white, and I loved it. And kind of ever since then, I've stuck to the idea of doing a color scheme. And yes, I do have a lot of ornaments because I've done red and white, red and gold, white and gold. I did black and white one year, and this year my plan was to go back to red and white. And then I ended up just hanging some of the white ornaments and decided I liked it. So that's a really long story that nobody wanted to know on why my Christmas tree is white.
It's good. I like it. Okay, so that's, sorry, I got a backlog of questions here. Marla also agrees, yes, on the male lifestyle bloggers. Love to hear it, Marla. We'll work on that. Let's see, Instagram is more about your life, everything, and I'm getting more. Lauren, are you thinking about posting, this is SG asking, thinking about posting more about, more photos again? About your life, you and your life.
Oh, you know, yes, I would love to. Honestly, I don't think to take them. That actually is kind of my goal. Like every time I was like, oh, I should do more in life, and I just don't have them. So in theory, yes.
Well, and I've been feeling the pressure for myself to do that. And so now I'm basically forcing myself to be the total dork that like carries his camera around sometimes and is able to capture some of those moments.
Yeah, and I think we should also be pretty honest about the fact that because of our lifestyle, we spend a lot of time inside our apartment. Like there are literal days.
Why do you think we're doing this here now?
Days when we don't leave the apartment. So my pictures would really be like, here's me on my couch, and here's me in the kitchen, and here's me by my Christmas tree. So we just don't have that many good things to take pictures of.
Yeah.
So, but it's always the goal. Like, oh, I'm gonna have all these pictures of my life, and I just, unless you like my dog, I could do lots of.
Margot did ask, what's Bales up to tonight?
I don't know. She's kind of shunned us. I thought she was gonna be out here being annoying, but
I think she's taking a nap, which is probably not gonna be good later on.
Yeah, we're probably gonna regret this.
She's restless later.
Yeah.
Lots of Margot loves the cover. Becca says you're the queen of NYC romance.
Thank you.
Are you talking to me, Becca, or her?
It's a tie.
My mom's going to go play Reward the Fan, so she'll be back in a minute. Let's see. Oh.
But you guys, really quick, shout out to Reward the Fan.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not familiar, it's Anthony's, he's a host of a trivia app.
Yeah. It's a live trivia game show called Reward the Fan. If you want to leave right now and come back in like 20 minutes, go for it. Download the app and play. There's another host, obviously, there tonight, not me.
But I was going to say, he's on tomorrow.
Yeah, if you want to join tomorrow. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
That was it.
Yeah.
He'll be on tomorrow, Reward the Fan.
Yeah. If you go to rewardthefan.com or look in the App Store or the Google Play Store, download the app, you'll see more of this tomorrow, except you get to answer trivia questions that I'm asking, and you can earn reward dollars and tickets to things. That's it. Reward the Fan. It's fun. Malinem. How did I learn to cook? AL, is it self-taught? Almost all self-taught. Yeah, I picked up a little bit from my parents, and then I just started cooking. Like, I remember getting Rachel Ray's 30-minute meals, I think, in college.
In college, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember whipping things up that way. That was a great starter cookbook. Like, there's good stuff in there. And then I took a couple of classes, like just one-day classes. Like here in New York, we have it was the Institute for Culinary Education, ICE, I think is one of them. There's a couple more, but you can kind of take individual classes to learn how to do different things. I took a French cooking class for one of them. They have knife skills and cocktails and everything else. But yeah, everything else has just been self-taught. My biggest learning experience in the kitchen came from, did you buy this for us or something? But Thomas Keller's The French Laundry. I don't know why we even picked it up.
I don't either.
But it was a very difficult book to cook for like a mid-level novice home cook.
French Laundry is, and Thomas Keller, he's a really one of those truly fancy haute cuisine. He has French Laundry is in Napa, and it's one of those Michelin superstar restaurants.
Yeah.
And so the first time we got the cookbook, it's you make your own mussel broth and I don't know, saffron pearls or stuff that we never heard of.
But it was the first time we cooked that recipe. I think it was a parsnip puree with some sort of fish with crispy skin on top, and then we did mussel. There was mussel broth.
It was actually on New Year's Eve. Now that I think about it.
Was it really?
It was our first ever dish.
That's funny. But that book, working our way through that book. There's a blog too that if you want to get a taste for it, it's called Carol Cooks Keller, I think. It's an old blog. This gal cooked her way through the cookbook, I think in 2007, 2008. I love how that's old. But anyway, that's how I taught myself. And it was so much fun. We actually cooked together.
I'm not a very good cook, and I don't love to cook, but I am really good at prepping for the cooking. I love to chop the stuff.
Right.
And I set it out into little bowls, and I measure it, and I get the cutting board. And then anytime heat is necessary or it gets complicated, then I'm I'm gonna have the line. You put it together.
Yeah.
But we do we have fun in the kitchen where I chop everything and we have wine. And
it's a ton of fun.
It's fun.
Thomas Keller. Was there another? I was gonna go to another question. It is self-taught. Lauren, what was the first book you read? Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. What's the first book you read?
That I read ever?
Yeah.
Well, the first book, I didn't actually technically read it, but the one that I really remember, way back here, The Castle in the Attic, my mom read to me. Oh. And it was one of the first, I'm sure because she read to us a lot, but that was the first chapter books. Is that a phrase that people know? When they're not
a book
kids'
with
books.
Chapters? Oh, I know what you're
book,
saying.
Like Nancy Drew is a chapter book, as opposed to little kid books, like Goodnight Moon or whatever.
I still read those. Are little kid books.
So I remember my mom read that to me, and that sticks out in my mind as being the first time that I got really the magic of books. And then the first book that I read that I think changed my entire life was The Boxcar Children.
Oh yeah.
So actually my teacher in second grade had been reading it aloud to us, and I was riveted, absolutely riveted. She wasn't reading quickly enough, and I remember we went to...
Wait, the teacher wasn't reading quickly enough?
No, because I was so... because we only got one chapter a day, and I still wanted to know what was happening next. And so we went to downtown Seattle at the time. Again, I was in second grade, and they had a big bookstore there that's sadly since closed. But I went and I found it, and then I basically begged my dad. I'm like, can I have this book? I'll do whatever chores. I wanted to read it myself. And I still remember we went out to dinner after, and in addition to him buying me that book, he also got me the second in the series, which I didn't know was the series. And I remember what I was wearing. I was like 8 years old, where I was sitting that entire moment, and I think it changed the course of my life because I learned that there was, first of all, a series of the Boxcar Children, and I went on to read all of them, and that was kind of the end of it all for me. I became a super, super bookworm. Like, I'm definitely the cliche, like, I knew from the time I was a kid, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? It was without a doubt, I wanted to be an author, pretty much since that moment. So, that's my story.
That's pretty good. I had the same experience with the Hardy Boys.
I was, Nancy Drew, like, that was up
Yeah.
there.
Like, I don't know, I remember in class, we got credit for, we could get a personal pan pizza if we read like a certain number of books. And I think the intention was like get people reading different kinds of books, but I always came and like wrote down, I read another Hardy Boy book, and they had like over 100 of them. Mm-hmm. It almost ruined me when I learned that Franklin W. Dixon was not a real person.
Same with the Boxcar Children. The one woman, I can't remember her name now, wrote the first 19, but they went on to have like 40, and the rest weren't written by her. And same with
I was crushed.
girls, you know what I'm talking about, ladies. Sweet Valley Twins, and Sweet Valley High, and Sweet Valley University aren't all written by the same person. I was outraged.
They should tell you that right up front.
So betrayed. All Lauren Lane books are written by Lauren Lane.
Yeah. Okay, good question. And AL, what was the first dish you made you were proud of? Okay, so there are two, I think. And earmuffs for the first one. I made dinner for like a girlfriend's parents once when I was in 8th grade, and that I was really proud of that. It was, I mean, in hindsight, it was edible, but it probably wasn't that great. Like it was balsamic.
Oh, that's fancy.
Well, it was diced chicken breast, and it was like a balsamic reduction, and I think I cooked mushrooms or something. I pull out all the stops.
Did your mom or dad give you the recipe?
Yeah.
Because that must be like before Google. You couldn't have just...
Oh, no. I'm sure it was probably my mom. Maybe my dad. I think it was my mom. Yeah. I was proud of that one. And then when we cooked Thomas Keller, I think it was the parsnip puree with the fish on top and the mussel broth. Like, that was the first time I think we, like, worked at cooking a meal. You know, like, it had several steps. I was proud of that. Like, and actually finishing that book, I think we did everything except the whole pig, the tail and snout thing, and the truffles, just because they're so friggin' expensive.
They are. And there was actually one lobster dish we didn't do for the same reason.
Yeah.
Lobster. We like lobster.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like lobster? But it's very expensive. And you had to do like 3 different lobsters just to get like the broth or whatever before you even got to the dish. So,
yeah. You had to have a couple just for decoration. Didn't work out. So, Margo, that was the answer to that question. Yeah.
Margo's probably regretting so many questions that she asked. Well,
Becca wants to know if you can come decorate her house for Christmas. Of course.
that would totally be actually a dream of mine to be.
I'll come make cocktails.
But it would be all monochromatic, just so you know.
Yep. Connie Park said, LL, of all your books, which is your favorite?
Oh gosh. I feel like I probably answer this question a little bit differently from time to time because I get asked it. So it probably depends on my mood. But the one that I usually come back to is The Trouble with Love, which is the fourth. Oh, it's tie. It's a tie for that and Made for You, which all they both have pink covers. But yeah, those are, so Made for You is the second in my Best Mistake series. It's actually one of the first books I ever wrote because it was sold as part of the series and my first ever published series. Actually, that's not true. Stiletto technically was my first published series, but Best Mistake was, I wrote it first and it sold first. It just took them a long time to publish. So Made for You, which is book 2 there, it's about Will and Bryn, and a lot of people don't like it. It's actually one of my worst reviewed books, and definitely one of my worst selling, but it's one of my personal favorites. And I am really proud of The Trouble with Love. I just remember like every moment of writing that book, and I still go back and I'm like, I love it. So yeah, I think that. I also like. I'm gonna stop it. I can keep going.
All right. Which show do we binge watch occasionally, and what book do we never get tired of? Well, okay, we binge watch a lot of shows repeatedly.
It's true.
So what happens is, so this shelf behind you, this console, whatever it is,
Where you see the flowers and the tree, that's usually a TV.
Yeah.
But we moved it so you guys can see the flowers.
Yeah, our TV right now is sitting on the couch as our monitor. Anyway.
If I keep looking over there instead of at the camera, it's because the TV is right there with us on it. Yeah.
It's big.
It's very awkward. I'm looking at my red lipstick, which is a whole other story for later.
That's what I keep looking at, is your red lipstick.
Well, did you notice that it kind of, it kind of matches the flowers?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, TV shows, binge watching.
Okay, TV shows, binge watching. But what happens is we sit down on the couch and we'll work, but we'll have TV shows on in the background. So to answer your question of what TV shows we binge watch, Psych, phenomenal TV show to binge watch. White Collar. We watched that now twice.
Yeah, and also it should be worth mentioning that Matt Bomer, however you say his name, from White Collar, was very much the inspiration for Alex Cassidy from The Trouble with Love, which I just mentioned.
Right.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, and a lot of my wardrobe choices as well influenced.
We love him.
Psych, White Collar.
The Office.
The Office, yeah.
Friends is pretty much a constant for me.
Yeah.
Like Friends, if when in doubt and I need to get cheered up or he's not here, Friends comes on, always.
I was a late to the game Friends convert. Like, I didn't like it. Okay, I'll tell you this. I hated it for a long time.
Yeah, you did. It was a rough point in our marriage because it's my favorite TV show, by far. I can watch the same episode 100 times and still laugh.
But here's what happened is every time Chandler would come on, I would roll my eyes and I'd be like, ugh, could that guy be any stupider? And then I realized oh, I am Chandler.
You're Chandler, but you're also Ross.
I do have a lot of Ross. So that's eventually kind of came around and I liked it a lot. I'm now a huge fan of Friends. So Psych, White Collar, Friends. What was the third one before Friends?
New Girl.
New Girl. Yeah, we have watched that a couple times through.
If you haven't watched New Girl, New Girl is fantastic. Very funny.
New Girl's very good.
We like The Office. We just finished, and I think it'll be a great birth. We just finished Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Parks and Recreation. And we tried it once before, and we did not get it at all, because the first season's a little bit rough, as a lot of TV shows tend to be. And we're like, this isn't for us. And then we kind of just pushed through, because we like the writers, and we'd heard good things, and liked it.
Yeah, it was really good.
I still like The Office better, if people are keeping track.
The Office has more tearjerker moments, and I use the term sparingly. I know it's not a sad show, but it has more of the moments where, Michael Scott is such a terrible person, but then all of a sudden at the end, he talks to Jim and he's like, yep, well, how was your first day managing or whatever? He's like, yeah, that'll happen. Or when Dwight reaches down to help Jim up, I might start crying. There are more of those moments in The Office than Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec still has them. Office has more. Anyway, what else do we watch? Oh, a lot of Star Trek.
We
burned through The Next Generation. I watched that as a kid, but then rewatched it now. Still great.
So if he didn't like Friends, and I was a Friends fan, he was more, and I didn't hate Star Trek, but other than seeing a couple movies with my dad early on, I was a diehard Star Wars, still am, Star Wars fan. So to me, Star Trek was the other one, and I just didn't touch it. But somehow, and even when we first started watching Star Trek, The Next Generation, those are the first ones I watched. I'm like, this is terrible. It's old fashioned. It was so awkward. And then somehow something clicked, and I'm like, I think I kind of get it. Yeah. So we watched that entire series. We went on to watch Voyager.
Oh, Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah, I love that one. And now we just recently, just a couple days ago, are venturing into Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We're very nerdy, actually.
I like how you should not have said a couple of days ago, because I was just about to say we're on episode 15 of the first season.
But it was a couple of days ago, because we watch it, he mentioned, we sit on the couch and we watch TV. We never actually watch TV without our computers. Weird thing about us.
On our lap, and we do stuff.
Yeah, so someone was asking about Instagram, and a lot of my Instagram right now is curated. I do inspirational quotes, because they tend to do very well, and I just like them. But you have to create all those graphics, and if I do anything with a stock photo, or that's a stylized picture of my book cover, they're pretty, but they take time.
Yeah.
And so this is sort of I'll sit and I will crank out 100 Pinterest pictures or 100 Instagram pictures while we're watching Star Trek. So now they'll be like, oh, your Instagram feed is so pretty. I'm like, well, that's thanks to Star Trek and Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, well, it's nice when you don't have to hang on every single word of a show.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about Bird Box. Had we watched that? What are our thoughts on that?
No.
We haven't watched it. I'm sure it's a great film, but that's something that that I would have to call a film and not just a movie. It seems like that's a little more like we should pay attention to it kind of a thing and not work while we're going through it.
I'm also really weird about things that are super intense. Like this maybe doesn't surprise people considering I write romance, but I like things that I know are going to be like happy, like happily ever after. And a lot of TV shows today, and even though they're really, really good, like 24 comes to mind. We tried watching that, or like Mad Men, and like they're excellent shows, but like, you know, they're not always happy and they get a little bit gritty and they're like intense. And I found like I didn't necessarily feel better after watching them. Or don't get me started on This Is Us. I still haven't watched it, so to be fair, but I'm like, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like I already know what happens, and it's not my cup of tea because it doesn't end up with a big heart at the end. So no.
Earmuffs.
Yeah.
In retrospect. Okay.
No, I think that's pretty much a
for the
pilot.
Yeah.
Sorry if anyone didn't know that.
Lauren, how did you find the courage to leave your corporate job and pursue writing? Maliam wants to know. Maliam, sorry.
It took a little while. It was a year or two, probably more than that, in the making. And in the end, it kind of came down to his job. But basically what happened, like, it was brewing. I really wanted to do it.
brewing. Literally brewing beer.
Yeah, he was brewing beer.
Go ahead.
And so he would be brewing beer as a hobby, and then I would do my hobby at the same time, and we would go down to an airplane hangar in Puyallup, Washington, and I would write my first book, and I was working at the time, so I would write on Fridays and Saturdays, or Saturdays and Sundays, and all I could think about was like, how amazing would it be, A, if this got published, because that's always the dream when you're writing your first book, but then also, like, more so, what if I could make, like, a living from this, and you would fantasize about being like Nora Roberts or Lisa Kleypas or any of those big names, and it seems so far off, and at the time, honestly, my corporate job paid fairly well, and it was a lot of money to just make like, oh, well, I want to quit, but I also knew I didn't want to leave that job, which I wasn't loving, for another job, because that would just be more of the same. And ultimately we got this huge blessing in disguise right as our lease was coming up. It was August of 2011. July of 2011. And our lease was up in August, and he got a job offer from his company at the time to help open their New York branch. And we had to leave our apartment anyway because we were in the process of moving and we didn't have a place to move into.
Oh my God.
And he's like, would you be open to it? And I seized it. I seized the opportunity, and I was like, okay. I'm like, because I would have to quit my job. And I said, basically, what if I took 3 months to try to make this writing thing? I was pretty much done with the book at the time. Not polished, but it was at least complete, you know, to basically try to like polish this up, get an agent, make it work. So that it took a little bit of courage, but it was also honestly like this perfect timing. I sometimes wonder like if I went back and if we didn't have that little impetus, it would have been much harder to honestly say like, and I actually tried, but he's much more practical than me. And he's like, well, do we want to give up this income, when there's no safety net? And there was not a safety net. And even after that, we still went into debt. Like, to be really super honest, like we went into big time debt. Because even though I did get published relatively quickly and I got a bunch of book deals relatively quickly, it does not pay well early on for me. Not only like my advances were tiny, and I didn't sell well. Like Stiletto, I've mentioned before. Stiletto, those were my first books. They bombed big time. Like I think they sold 100 books in like the first 6 months, which is not great. So yeah, we went into debt, but
I still remember the spreadsheet that I had designed just to manage the credit card debt. And it kept getting redder and redder.
We were to the point, like literally, like we were like, oh, you'd be pouring down rain, and we would be downtown New York for some reason, and there'd be no cabs, and we realized we can't even like afford a cab. Like we could not afford a cab to come home. Like we would take the subway and wait 4 hours if it was out of commission.
Yeah.
So yeah,
those are fun.
It was an adventure.
That's how you found the courage. I love it.
Yeah.
But also, we ask ourselves the question. We ask each other this question a lot when it comes to those kind of decisions, though. And it's something we picked out. The question that we ask each other is, "What's the worst that can happen?"
Yeah.
And we picked this up from the 4-Hour Work Week that Tim Ferriss wrote. It's a book. Came out. Actually, that's kind of what planted the seed early on, because I was working at Microsoft for a company called Accenture. That doesn't matter. And I remember I was coding, and then I would have this playing on audiobook or the MP3 files, and basically the book was like, why aren't you quitting your stupid day job to pursue your dream, and how to make that work? And I'm like, yeah, why aren't we quitting our day jobs to?
Well, because it's so scary. Like you think, and then you're like, well, I couldn't pay for food, and like you go into worst by default. We as humans, I think, go into worst case scenario.
Yeah, but we don't leverage that.
Yeah.
I think.
True.
I mean, because the worst case scenario is we focus on that, but then we also don't say like, well, if that's the worst, okay, we can plan for that almost. I interrupted you though. Go ahead.
No, yeah, same. Like we always think like, oh, we're gonna starve. We don't have a place to live, and I think a lot of us are a little bit luckier than we realize. Like you could probably, like in my case, like we moved back with my parents 2 years after moving to New York.
Mm-hmm.
We were in debt. I mentioned our lease was up in New York. We loved living in New York, but it was expensive. It's expensive.
Yeah.
And my career, like it was okay. I was still getting book deals, but it was not paying well. So we moved back home. I was 32, and we moved in with
That
my
was only
parents.
3 years ago? It was 2013.
31.
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever. I was early 30s, and I moved back with my parents, which was not a great feeling. And it was only for a few months.
6 weeks.
Yeah, we thought we were going to last longer. We were like, no, we need our space.
We had assumed on the budget, that spreadsheet, I was like, we can last a little bit longer. We should. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're 30 and you need your space, anyway.
Yeah.
Different story. Hi, Mom and Dad, if you're watching. Love you. Thank you for letting us live there.
It was great.
Yeah, so I mean, it hasn't always been smooth, and there have been ups and downs, but it was worth it.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, it was, what's the worst that can happen? We go into some debt. Well, we can drain part of our 401k to pay for the debt, and then we're at least clean slate. Not a smart move, but a prudent move, I think. We're back now. Yeah, it's like worst case, we can always go find a job somewhere, you know? Like even now, if something happened.
Yeah, that's our default. It's like not that it's really easy to find a job anytime, but like we're employable. Like we can get a job at Starbucks. Like we get a job at Starbucks. He could get a job as a bartender.
Right.
I would be actually a terrible waitress, but my memory is not so
what?
good. Not so good about the details. And yeah.
You were at Foundation House?
It was a good waitress. So actually, Anthony and I, my first ever job, I think his too. We worked it's called Foundation House. It's in Federal Way, Washington, and it is a retirement community. So not quite a nursing home, but like for an advanced age set. And we worked in their like dining room as, like I would kind of use words like food servers, like waiter, waitresses, except there's no tips because that's where they have to eat. So obviously they're not expected to tip us. And it was kind of a great experience.
It was.
I didn't really have any grandparents growing up that I was super close to. So this was like a whole other world. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. These people older than me have wisdom to pass on. Anyways.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Wait, why did OBS... I wonder if we're still streaming.
Well, it said elapsed time. It's still counting down.
I know, I'm refreshing.
Sorry if you guys are watching us with our technical difficulties.
I guess we still are, but where's my app that does that? I can't find the...
So are there any more questions? I'm wondering if we should break and just give...
Do you want to cut to one of these?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that. I'm going to... Because I need a refill on my champagne.
We do need refills on our champagne. Okay. So one of the nice things about this whole live thing is that we need to take a break and we can cut to some pre-recorded segments. Yeah. Quick bathroom break. But while we're doing that, I'm going to cut to a sparkling wine comparison. We're drinking Paul Roger champagne tonight, but... Fancy. But let's cut to that.
Okay.
Shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. We'll see you in like 5 minutes or less.
I'm going to go put on more deodorant and pee, and then we'll be back.
Okay, that's what's happening. All right, ciao guys. We'll be back in a minute. Hello, and welcome back to the kitchen. I'm going to give you a quick overview on bubbles. Starting from cheapest to most expensive, these are all the varieties of bubbles that I have in my fridge right now. The Delacroix, if you like, is the cheapest. Keep this in there for just like a daily drinker for bubbles. It's like $7 a bottle where I'm at. It's not too bad at all. Use it for mimosas or any sort of cocktail that requires sparkling wine to be added. note that this is not champagne, although it is made in France. Next up is Cava. Specifically, this is a rosé Cava. This runs about 15 to 20 bucks usually. I can find most good Cavas for 15 to 20. Cava is like Spain's version of champagne. It's made in the same method as champagne, but just in a different country. It's very good, very tasty, and very affordable. You don't have to get the rosé. They make non-rosé versions as well. There you go. Next up, we have Cremant, back to France. This is also not champagne, since it's not made in the Champagne region. This is Cremant De Bordeaux, which is Cremant made in Bordeaux. It's very good, usually 20 to 25 bucks, sometimes a little bit less, but it's very tasty. It's just a cheaper alternative to champagne. And I'm sure if I were a wine nerd, I could tell you some specific nuances and differences from champagne, but I'm not. Last, we do have an actual champagne, Paul Roger. This is a fantastic champagne that won't break the budget. It's 50 bucks. I usually spend between 40 and 50 bucks for this, depending on whether it's on sale or not in New York. But it is a fantastic champagne, especially for that, for the price point. You don't have to spend the 170 bucks for a bottle of Dom. This is not quite as good, but it is quite tasty, and is maybe a monthly drinker or a weekly drinker if you've got the bubble budget for it. There you go. There we go. From least expensive to most expensive, we've got $7, $15, $20 to $25, and $45-ish. It's a bubble primer. Happy New Year's, and enjoy. Bye. Happy New Year's, and enjoy. We're back.
We're back.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me make sure I'm not. There we go. Well, it's my first time.
Okay, no, he's doing it. This is our first time, and I wish you guys could see our living room right now. So you're seeing like the pretty version, like here's our tree. We're actually sitting on a bench that's at our dining room table.
Yeah.
And facing our couch where the camera is, and then behind the camera is our TV that's like slouched back on the couch. It's very classy. Oh, and there's cords everywhere as we're trying to do this.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
You should definitely check it out. Yeah, so that was a good question. Should we do some of the Life by Design planning stuff? Like,
yes.
Do you think people would be interested?
I just said we are reading all these comments, so thanks to everybody that comment on the book.
Oh, Malinam, yes. Glad you loved. I made for you In Trouble with Love.
Good taste.
Yeah.
Excellent taste.
We can get along. Margot, I know, right? Not a Friends fan before, I am now. I finally saw the light. Took me a while. Could I be any more dense? Okay. Chandler. We were on a break. Mom, I know. Good question.
Anthony's mom is on. Hi, Diana.
Hi, Diana. Hi, Mom. Yeah, I know. Bailey is taking a nap. I don't know what she's doing. She just doesn't want to join us for the New Year's special, apparently. Yeah. So.
Yeah, she's usually very personal
here
on camera. I promise she's alive.
Yeah, she's alive and kicking. I just don't know.
Yes. So Life by Design, we're going to do a quick, and it's mandatory watching. So I already talked about.
If we do need another break, we have two others to cut back into.
Yeah, we were really fancy with this, and we filmed a few quick break options. With mostly I was still wearing my pajamas, sitting at the table on my computer, just judging Anthony while he had to be on camera. This is after I got the bow tie tied, which is.
Yeah. By the way, if you're just joining us, that's why I haven't shaved today, because I bought this fancy bow tie. And it took us 2.5 hours to learn how to tie it. And I wanted to make sure I got it all. But then once we got it, I was like wearing this, and I'm like, well, now I can't.
We're like, don't touch it, don't take it off.
So I've been wearing this since, I don't know, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Just walked around the house, and I didn't get a chance to shave.
He like took the dog out like this, just casual.
Yeah. And the guy down at the front desk was like, love the bow tie. I'm a bow tie guy, man, myself. And I'm like, I know, right? It took me 2.5 hours.
Did you figure out how to tie it?
Yeah, and he's like, nah, I do pre-tied. And I'm like, probably smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we know.
But now I'm officially a man.
Anthony, since I already did some of my 2018 lessons, if you guys missed it, one of my big learnings for myself about 2018 was that I have been so much happier since leaving Facebook.
Yeah, me too.
That was just a big thing for me. I did it kind of on a whim. I was like, what would be, we talked about like the worst that can happen. Facebook is so big in the author world, and it's how you connect with readers. It's what most authors recommend for how they get the most traction. and I just wasn't loving it. I was tense every time that I had to log on to Facebook. I've never really enjoyed the platform. And so I was like, I'm going to try leaving. And I did, and it turned out to be a whim decision, spontaneous. That was honestly one of the best things ever.
Yeah,
and it just kind of opened me up creatively, and it freed up all this space in my brain basically to do other stuff, a lot of which you guys will see in 2019. So I'm super excited about that. So that was one big learning. I've had a few publishing lessons that I've learned, and again, I'm not going to share them on here only because I need to have the conversation with my agent and with my publishers and figure out where I'm going. But it's always a learning lesson because contemporary romance is so weird right now. It's very competitive. I'll just say that. There are so many authors and so many books, and it's just not. Here's a little lesson. So when I first started out, I really loved the careers of Nora Roberts and Kristen Higgins. Julie James was just getting started when I wrote my first book, and that was the path that I wanted to go, and that's sort of been the path that I've been following. But I had to basically accept this year that the industry has changed quite a bit. Like Kindle Unlimited is a thing. Book prices have decreased majorly. And so I had this wake-up moment, essentially, of, the path that I've been on, that path isn't even there anymore. So I've kind of been regrouping a little bit and just focusing on writing the best books that I can.
I like that approach.
Yeah.
Seem less stressful.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
What about you? 2018 big moments other than the cookbook?
Oh, yeah.
If you're just joining us, the cookbook was killed for legal reasons.
Yeah. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And then pulped. It didn't even get like a dignified death.
I like how you keep using that word.
Well, once I learned it.
Yeah. And it's like they were pulped.
I envisioned them like going in front of a firing squad, or like the incinerator was cooler to me. Like I just imagine them going into a big fire, like, dying an honorable death. But now just pulped to be reused? Ugh. Anyway, so yeah, cookbook didn't make it in 2018. Are we going through like OF moments in 2018, or?
Yeah, or just any lessons, either like good lessons or bad lessons. Like your key, what was stuff that you learned or experienced in 2018 that will impact 2019 for you?
Okay, so I think my word for 2018 was snowball. Let me explain. I think
it was just your word for 2 years, right? 2017 and 2018. I never quite understood what it meant, but it means something to him, which is all that matters. Explain snowball.
Okay, the theme word snowball. Here's why I liked it. I wanted a word or a visual. I wanted an image to remind me that it doesn't all happen. Like Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes keep working at whatever I'm trying to achieve day after day, right? That I wanted, like, okay, but why? It's like there's a little bit of momentum. Let me explain. It's easier to get up and run a 5K if you've been doing that every day over the past 2 weeks. Then it's like, I'll just do what I've been doing the last 2 weeks. Whereas it's much more difficult if you're just getting up and running a 5K. Like, okay. Same thing with writing. Like, when I sit down to write after I've been away from it for like 2 weeks or even a week or 2 days, it's like, I can't write. Who am I? I don't belong here.
This is so hard.
Yeah, every word is like pulling teeth. But if I do it every single day, it flows much easier. It's much more easy. It's much easier just to turn it back on when I need to. Snowball. I love the image of, like, how snowballs in the cartoons form into giant snowballs when they're like going down the mountain. Like it starts, some guy like accidentally boop, knocks a little bit of snow and it just picks up traction. I viewed that as how I wanted. This is terrible. But like that's how I want.
No, it obviously resonates with you. Like I said, it's 2 years now. I'm like, what's your word? I make him have a word because words are important to me. And maybe he just picks it, so I'll be quiet. He's like, it's snowball. But yeah, did you feel like you snowballed this year?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Because I forgot what my word was until right now. I mean, I did a lot of good things. I did some good things this year, which is nice. But I feel like I could have done a lot more had I worked every single day towards that goal. Had that snowball picked up more snow as it was rolling down the hill to become a giant snowball that, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Okay. So that's, the lesson was to snowball more often, to do that.
So is that your word?
I feel like if there's some sort of, is that like a weird millennial teen dirty word or something? Like if they watch us and like, those guys were talking about snowball, like, no. Okay, good. That's fine. All right, that's not my word going to 2019. I switched it out.
What is your word for 2019?
Stewardship. I like the word. It's always resonated with me.
Another word that I don't know what it means, so I'm on a roll with snowball and stewardship. But no, you've explained it, so now I'm getting it. Explain it to them in case their vocab is like my vocab.
Well, stewardship is like, there's a couple different angles. One is like the administration of something. Okay, I'm less keen on that right now, but what I like about stewardship is, actually, okay, let's even take that. When I was a kid, I did a lot of backpacking and hiking and camping, and the idea of being a steward when you're out hiking was always beaten into us. And that the idea is, when you go hiking or backpacking or camping, you leave nature a little bit better than when you found it. That's it. You just pick up a piece of trash, something like that. If everybody did that all the time, is that a con? Is that the, no,
Don't remember.
Imperative? But anyway, if everybody acted that way all the time, everything would be great. Go hiking, pick up some stuff, leave it a little nicer. I want to leave the world a little bit nicer than when I found it.
And happier.
And happier, and with a few more smiles on its face than when I leave. Now that means, though, that sometimes I put frowns on people's faces. I understand that. But my idea is kind of like this karmic measurement of, hopefully I'm putting a few more smiles on people's faces by the time I leave than when I found it. That's it. Stewardship.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah.
My word, and then I'm wondering if we should wrap this up unless we're still getting questions, but I don't want to bore people.
No.
But my word for 2019 is upgrade. It actually took me a really long time to come up with this word, because usually, like, I'm the one that likes the theme words. Like, they've been pivotal for me. If you've read my Life by Design, you know the whole reason that I left my job and wrote a book is because in 2011, my theme word, I didn't have any goals specifically, but I was feeling very trapped, and so I made my theme word break free. And I just knew, like, I felt trapped and I wanted to break free, and I didn't know what that looked like, but it was always sort of on my mind. And then by the end of that year, I had left my job and we had moved to New York City, and I had written a book. So that was a positive experience with my first theme word. And then this last year, 2018, it was back to basics. And that really came out of sort of a not so great 2017, where I was traveling a lot. I was doing a lot of signings, but I was doing signings where I didn't have any books to sign because I signed all these ebook only book deals with a great publisher, but they were ebook only. And that was starting to feel frustrating, and it was just sort of this mess, and I basically had gotten myself into a situation where I was doing what everybody else wanted me to do or thought that I should do, and I had lost sight of really what I loved about the job in the first place, which is writing romance. So 2018 was all about back to basics. I cut out all signings temporarily. I do like signings, I like meeting readers, but I need to get back on track. I am now doing only book deals that involve a paperback, because that's been important to me. Like, I like the basic idea of being able to hold a book in your hands is important to me. So yeah, it was honestly, it was a pretty good year for me, both in terms of, I feel like I did get back to basics. I wrote a lot of books. I actually randomly discovered a couple manuscripts on my computer, and I'm like, oh, I forgot that I wrote those. I wrote them just for fun, just for me. And they're just sitting there, and I could probably do something with them. But that was really what I wanted from this year, was to remember why I became an author in the first place, and it was to write. 2019, I want to build on that a little bit, and I picked upgrade for sort of a bunch of different reasons, but the word felt really right for me at the time. One thing I did learn about myself in 2018 that was a bit of a surprise is that I miss having an office or a workspace. So when we moved in June from one apartment to another, and they're fairly comparable in size, but we got rid of our desks and made room for some other stuff. You know, we now have a proper like TV table. We have a dresser for the first time, I think, in our adult life, like a true dresser. We used to just have like bins in our closet. But so there was no room for a desk, and I thought that would be fine because I usually write from bed, or I can write from the couch. I can technically write from anywhere. But I sort of underestimated the mental connection of having a dedicated workspace, even if it's a place to put my laptop, to put my markers and my highlighters and all my writing stuff, my stuff. So I missed that, but in order for us to keep living in New York City and have a desk, or ideally I would love to have an office, I basically need to figure out how to step it up a little bit so we can afford that. So that's sort of part of the upgrade. Sort of upgrading my habits a little bit. Overall, just going to the gym a little bit more than I am now, having a few more vegetables than I am now. But I don't necessarily want to say, oh, I want to work out this many days a week, or, you know, I want to lose this many pounds. It's not that at all. It's just, yeah, it's upgrading my life. So you guys will be seeing that actually probably on Instagram and on my website a little bit, because it's coming into play.
I like that.
Yeah, thanks.
Upgrade yourself.
Yeah, treat yourself is the other, like that's, I was sort of like luxury, treat yourself, like figure out how to level up. That was another one I considered, like level up to whatever it is. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I'm going to mention for the handful of readers that are on here, the other place the upgrade comes into play, and it's been a tricky topic, is some of my books for 2019 are going to be more expensive. Specifically this guy, Passion on Park Avenue. You can't really tell without my other paperbacks, which I should have brought out for comparison, but this is a trade paperback size, and it's through Simon & Schuster, and it's different than my other Simon & Schuster or Grand Central books, which are smaller and they're mass market. And for you guys, it doesn't really matter. The stories are essentially the same. They're all romances, but because this is trade, it's more expensive. And so it is going to be an odd, big jump for readers in terms of my price point, which I'm happy about, not because I think readers should have to pay more, but I've had this big issue lately with how devalued romance has become in the book world. I'll try not to get too much on my soapbox here, but it's been killing me lately knowing that some of the top books on Amazon, if it's Stephen King or if it's suspense or nonfiction, they're all like $10.99 and above, and romance you'll see it's like 99 cents, $1.99. You know, the most expensive you really see is $4.99. And it kind of pisses me off on behalf of romance authors, because our books are just as good as books that are being sold as like 2 times, even 3 times as much. So that bothers me, but kind of related to that, this particular publisher is more expensive. So be prepared for that. I didn't pick the price point, but it is sort of part of getting back to the idea of like books have value, and I'm really proud of my work, and I don't particularly love when they are up for sale at $1.99, because that is less than a Starbucks latte, and I worked really hard on my books. So change the subject.
Okay, next on today's extravaganza, New Year's Eve.
I need more deodorant.
Yeah. Margot wants to know, where did you learn all your smarts on food and drinks, Anthony? Trial and error. I remember for the drink side, you came back with a cocktail book. And it was something drinks and forgotten cocktails, forgotten drinks and old drinks, forgotten, something like that. It was by Ted Haigh, Haigh, and it was like, it was one of the early books. This was maybe, we were in Seattle, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like 6 years ago, something like that, 7 years ago. And we just started, like, I don't know how we just decided to do it, but we wanted to work our way through the cookbook, or through the cocktail book. We just started buying a whole bunch of ingredients, practicing and messing around. Basically, long story short, repetition. Like just learning, reading all about it, and then trying out a whole bunch of things.
Well, we started to have a lot more respect for proper cocktails, which I know sounds like I actually love Cosmos, and Cosmos are kind of a proper cocktail. But anytime you see like, you know, like an appletini or like a coconut, watermelon, anything, for us, being snobby is not truly like a proper cocktail. Like we really like the sort of like the art of it, you know, rather than just drinking something that's sugary that is alcoholic, which is not really our cup of tea. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of was it, like getting involved, getting interested in real cocktails, classic cocktails, kind of seeing where they came from, and then kind of learning what we really like. Like now, we still have ingredients that I think we've been trucking around for 10 years. There's some
one
like
bottle of something.
You need like this much of it, and it's really strong, and it only belongs in one drink, but you like that drink. So I'm like, well, I guess we're moving this from New York to Seattle to Chicago, back to New York. If we move again, I'm sure it'll keep coming with us. I think we had the same bottle of Pernod for 12 years. Almost since we've been married, well, maybe 10 years. But because we only use it for corpse revivers to rinse out the glass, and then you dump it. Literally, that's what you do. You put it in there and you. We'd rinse out the glass and then we'd pour it back in the bottle. That was, and then you'd have the absinthe-ish smell, the anise smell, and then you pour the cocktail. That was all we used it for, and it lasted us 10 years. Anyway,
Same thing with food. Worked our way through Thomas Keller's cookbook. And then a couple other cookbooks just like, I don't know, just cooking a ton. Like focusing on technique as well, like learning how to properly chop, or like how to use a knife. Like I think most people don't know how to use a knife at home. Like I was on a commercial shoot and I had to play a dad who was cutting food, and they had like a little knife this long to cut vegetables. I'm like, do you have a chef's knife or anything? Because that's the right knife to use, cutting carrots and everything else. And they're like, no, we just... Anyway, I think that's most people, they don't know how to use a knife. Like, and you're supposed to keep it sharp. I know a lot of people don't like using sharp knives. Like, it's just learning those kind of things, basically. I'll get off my soapbox now. But
I was really like, what are we tuning into here? I'm like, books are too cheap, and...
somebody said Mally Nem said their 2019 word is confidence.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
I do too.
Because it's like you can always remember that that's the word, and then it's like...
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Like, I do push the word of the year a lot, but I like it so much because there's something about it that's so different than a resolution, because it's like this guiding principle, and it's a feeling that you don't have. Like, if your resolution is to lose 10 pounds, you're like, whatever, like, I'll try not to have as many bagels or whatever your plan is. But then it's easy to lose steam on that because you get distracted by something else, or you just realize you really like bagels. But if it's, like health or upgrade or like energy, then you're focused, like it's more tangible, I guess.
Well, it's simpler too. Like, it's easier a rallying call of confidence is a lot easier to apply to a diverse set of situations than I'm going to lose 8 pounds. I mean, that's very specific in that, basically that's a pass-fail on that one thing, but confidence is like, at least for me, that's like a feeling, and then if I just remember that throughout the year, and I can act confidently for once,
Agree.
Yeah, I like it. Becca said that you probably don't like going to signings because it's, she said, that's because you love me walking by at signings yelling, oh my God, it's Lauren Lane, to get everyone's attention.
Yeah. Signings, I will say the other part of 2017, I guess it was, signings, it was oddly depressing because I had just made New York Times bestseller list. I thought I was like kind of a rock star, but I would go to these signings and I would seriously be like the most abandoned table. And readers, if you are ever looking, or if you're ever at a signing and you're walking by and there's some author, don't just look at her sign, or worse, like at her and be like, I don't know her, and keep walking. Like, it's completely horrifying. At least smile. So Becca saved my pride a bunch of times when I would literally be the only author in the entire room. Nobody's coming to my table. I had like my books, my like 2 books, because none were print. But regardless, Becca always made me feel very good.
I love
Thanks,
Becca.
Becca.
Yeah, it's always good to see her at those signings too. My favorite, besides Becca, my other favorite person that we ever saw come by one of the signings was some gal who's like, how you holding up? Pretty good. And then we said pretty good, and she's like, yeah, I don't know, half these people are monsters.
Yeah.
We're like, oh God.
What have you been through?
Yeah. So there's that too. Totally agree that romance books matter and are important, says Margot. I totally agree. Cheers to that. I'll drink. Yeah. That's the...
Now our dishwasher's going off. He's still mad at me that I started that before our video.
Well, no, we also left the AC running now on this since we came back. Margot, yeah, I like it too, and I'm glad that you can't wait for the cookbook to come. I'll let you know. Stay, I don't know, we're not going to do this live the whole time, but subscribe or follow me on Instagram or something. I think you do. Your name sounds super familiar. I know you. I feel like I know you.
We're buddies.
Yeah. So anyway, that's that. That's the end of that question.
Yes.
Should we cut it?
Yeah, I think we're going to cut it because we're cutting it.
Okay.
Unless we have like a bunch more people joining. But I don't want to wear out our welcome. And maybe we'll come back later, and in which case I'll post on Instagram. But I want to make sure that we're not just babbling. Yeah. Unless you're going to be sad if we cut our people.
I mean, I will weep.
He does so as a stand-up comedian, and like he does very well in front of an audience. Me, it's not as much. I get more nervous. That's why I keep
You're
mentioning
doing great. You're doing good.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we have an introvert and an extrovert here in our marriage, so
yeah,
it's a balance.
It is.
So we will wish you guys a very happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. I don't know why I leaned forward like to make that really sincere. Happy New Year.
But we mean it. Like, just like a Happy New Year. we mean have a happy new year.
Yes, we do.
We really want 2019 to be awesome for you.
Yeah.
We are really excited about it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yep.
We are probably going to make this an annual thing, I think, because it's been really fun. And,
I think so.
And like I said, we really do go to bed really early on New Year's Eve. Like, because we wake up at 5 usually, so you can rest assured that at 5 a.m. we'll be awake. So we can't stay up till midnight. We don't have that kind of energy.
Yeah, no.
So.
No, it's not going to happen.
No.
Let's plug ourselves and the Life by Design, just so people know about it if they made it all the way to the end of this video.
Yes, if you made it all the way.
You can subscribe. I don't know where you do that on YouTube. We're brand new to this thing. Subscribe and you get more of this stuff.
Yeah,
you get notified
YouTube is
when this
brand
happens.
new for us. I'm on Instagram. We're both on Instagram.
Oh yeah. Oh, here, watch. I bet if we do, hold on. I gotta wait for the delay to come back. I think. Oh no.
No.
These are our Instagram. We look like little puppies. We're sitting
My
pretty.
T-Rex is that.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are our Instagram and Twitter
Yes, down
Instagram
there.
handles. That's basically where we're at.
So yeah, we're on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook.
No.
YouTube, I'm not going to learn. I'll try to learn, but I probably won't learn.
I'll drag her into one of these occasionally.
If any of you are new to us, I'm a romance author. He is a comedian and cookbook author.
Yep.
Among other things. Oh, we both do web design. If you need a website.
Yeah, check us out.
Shameless plug for Last Word Designs.
I'll put Last Word Designs on.
And yeah, that's really it. I'm going to say this now. This is a update for my readers because I keep getting questions about whether or not Kate and Kennedy's book, which is a huge deal, it is coming out on February 12th. I still do not have any NetGalley date, and so it's a month away, and I don't actually know what's coming up on NetGalley, and it seems a little bit weird, and my editor is out until January 6th, so I will keep you guys updated, but if you're wondering where it is, I don't know. It's not really my decision, so that's that.
Becca said, hit the Red Bull. And then she said, love y'all, can't wait to get to New York City for cocktails. My mom said, so fun, thanks for doing this, really interesting, Happy New Year, everyone.
Was that really like my red lipstick?
Melanie, oh yeah, do we love?
No, I'm going to tell you a quick story, then we're going to go for real. My red lipstick, okay, so I'm not really a bright lips person. I usually, I like makeup, but I usually do like a neutral, nude pink lipstick. I've worn red lipstick once before for my friend Annie Selleck's bachelorette party where it was a Taylor Swift theme.
Oh yeah,
and I did red lipstick.
right.
But I picked kind of the wrong color red for my skin tone, so I ended up getting rid of this one. I wanted to do red lips for New Year's Eve, and I do actually like this color, but I'm so glad that I did a test run yesterday.
Oh, this is great.
Because first of all, I got a lip liner. I'm actually going to show you because I have them right here. Because
It was so good. I mean,
it was terrible. So they're pricey little things. I had a gift card for Charlotte Tilbury, which is a very nice brand, and I got the lip liner in Kiss and Tell, and I got this lipstick in Karina's Love. Okay, so I had these, and it's gorgeous, right? I don't know how well you can tell here. It's just like a classic, very pretty red lip. I did all my research. It was gonna be so great. Never worn red lipstick before. Never really worn bright lipstick before. I put on chapstick unknowingly right before. That was kind of like a, not like Vaseline, but it was like an oily chapstick because that's what I usually wear. And so I went to put these on. First of all, it melted all over my face. The first thing I put, you saw.
I did see,
right
but
after
how
I
does
put
it
it there.
melt all over your face?
It just gooed all around my mouth. So I'd had it on for 2 seconds, and I went out and saw Anthony. It was our anniversary, and I looked like a clown. I had just
oh yeah,
literally bled all over. So I tried to clean up that, and I fixed it. I thought, but what I also didn't know, because I don't usually wear lip liner, I put the lip liner on, and then I fixed my lips finally. And we went and we had a nice dinner, and I had some champagne for anniversary, and then at the end of the night, and he doesn't tell me what I look like. I go into the bathroom at the end of the night after we've been having this nice dinner, and all my lipstick is gone, but the lip liner had stayed. So it was literally this dark red line with no lipstick whatsoever.
Oh, that was so good.
So I learned my lesson. You should put the lip liner over your entire lips so it stays, and don't put on gooey chapstick right before red lipstick. This is my red lipstick tips in case anyone else is new at this.
I'm brand new at this.
So
that's why I didn't say anything. I didn't know if you were going for a very specific melted off look.
Like what, the Joker? God. So yeah, I don't think I've mastered it, but I'm hoping this doesn't look as bad as it did last night. And that's my red lipstick.
You can see it right there. It looks great.
Yeah, but I can't. Yeah, it's all right. All right, we're gonna cut this. It's getting out of control.
All right. I had taped 2 other cocktail segments.
we'll put up the cocktail videos, and then we're gonna put this whole video on YouTube, probably his channel.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to tell your friends about it, that they can watch us talk for 2 hours, you can.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do
We're
that.
ending this real. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Should I close out with the martini one?
Yeah.
And just leave them
Oh
with
yeah,
that?
the martini one's funny because it's a disaster. It's like the most entertaining. It's a disaster.
It was a disaster.
You'll see.
I think I'm one drink in, and like it was
Not
a mess.
even. He hadn't even had anything to drink yet when he made this.
I think,
So,
it was a train wreck.
It was a train
All right,
wreck.
this has been so much fun. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yes,
I just
thank
want to, let's see, make sure we've got all the questions. My mom found the Red Bull. Good. Yeah, Sarah, it was good seeing your comments.
Sarah!
Glad you saw our faces.
You guys, Sarah St. Mary is on right now, and I have known her since I was like 6 years old. So,
Yes.
Hey, friend.
Hey.
Hey.
All right, so thank you so much for joining us, by the way. This is our first time, and
Yes.
we're glad that you stuck around this long. We're going to cut to a cocktail recipe for a martini. Have a happy,
And then we were
fun,
out. We're
and
going to go
safe
have
New
more
Year's.
champagne and have some steak, and then we're going to be in bed by 10 p.m.
Yes.
You should do the same.
Yeah.
But if you're not, don't do the ball in Times Square. 'Cause we've
No,
already
don't do
taught you
that. That was the
houses.
lesson. That was the TL, too long, didn't read.
If you've learned anything, take that off your bucket list.
Yeah, please do. All right. Night, guys.
Okay.
Happy New Year. See you in 2019. All right. Next cocktail up, the martini. This is a perfect New Year's Eve cocktail because it is so handsome. It's so celebratory. It's such a good cocktail to have, especially when you're wearing a bow tie. Okay. It's a very easy cocktail to make as well. The only ingredients you need are gin, dry vermouth, and an olive. Or you can use a lemon twist, your choice. For this one, we're going to do both, which is an abominable. Anomaly? What did I say? Abominable? That's not even a word. Should we start over after that? No. We're going to keep going.
Roll with it.
I think I meant anomaly. I think I meant anomaly. Or abomination. That's what I meant. Sweet. Having fun, making cocktails. Okay. I am gonna grab that lemon though. Gotta make this one the abominable. All right. First things first, we need some ice. Now, a couple of notes about the martini while we're making this drink. A martini is only made with gin. If it has vodka in it, it is a vodka martini, maybe, but it's a kangaroo, definitely. So your choice, what you want to call it. But don't assume when somebody says, oh, I'll have a martini, they mean gin, or they're uneducated. Your call. Says the guy who just said, abominable. Okay. We got our ice all set up. Let's get some dry vermouth going on. I need a jigger. What'd I do with it? Our pets' heads are falling off. Okay. We're good. We good now? We're good. When I'm using a gin like Walters, I like this gin a lot. I like the flavor a lot, so I try not to put too many other things in there with it. So we're just going to do a little bit of dry vermouth. Now when people say they like their martinis really dry, they mean less of this. Old school martinis had probably 2-to-1, actually it was 2-to-1 vermouth to gin in the Martinez, and then finally they swapped them once the gin quality got a little bit better than Make You Blind, and they went with a 2-to-1 gin to dry vermouth. Are you following so far? So we're just going to use a little bit. I'm going to go with a 1/2 ounce. Perfect. Actually, I'm going to go with a 1/4 ounce. That was just a 1/4 ounce. I thought about lying to you, but I decided against it. And we're going to go with 2 ounces of Walters gin. Again, you can use your favorite gin here. Use something flavorful, use something halfway decent. I actually use Gordon's gin sometimes, and it's not so bad. I can't see out of my right eye, but it's not bad. If you like martinis dirty, you can either substitute your dry vermouth with olive brine, or you can omit the dry vermouth altogether. That's what substitute means. We're going to go ahead and redo that. that one. If you like your martinis dirty, you can substitute your dry vermouth for olive brine, or you can just combine them or mix and match, your choice. Did we get that clear? Okay, good. All right, let's see, I've got that, that. Now let's shake. Oh, some people like stirring their martinis. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with shaking them though. There's nothing in the two ingredients that's gonna foam up or look stupid when you shake it. Some of the like sweeter drinks, or even like Manhattans in the dry vermouth, for some reason it gets all foamy. But whenever I shake martini, Nikes. Whenever I shake a Manhattan with sweet vermouth, it gets all frothy and foamy. But whenever I shake a martini with dry vermouth, we're in the clear. Good? Yeah? Okay. I did forget a glass, by the way. Pretty good. See how it's starting to crisp up a little bit? Oh, thank you, lovely assistant. Now, had I had my druthers about me, I would have filled this with ice and water and let it chill as I explained the entire fantabulous history of the Abominable to you, but instead, I did not. So we're just gonna pour this into a slightly room temperature warm glass. But anyway, back to this. See how it's starting to get a little bit icy? That's a very good sign. We can still shake some more. Okay, done shaking. If you've never used a Boston shaker before, I would highly recommend it. They are much better than those stupid shakers with like the curved lid, the dome thing. I, for the life of me, can never get them off, and I'm always finagling with it. This, you just bang once on the side, pops right up. Good? You can also be the fancy bartender guy if you want and pour from these, but we're not going to do that. We are going to use a Hawthorne strainer, which I need to go find. Found it right here. Okay, we're good. Hawthorne strainer, good to go. Because this is New Year's Eve when you're watching this, maybe not, I actually don't know when exactly you're going to be watching this, we're going to double strain to remove any ice shards in our martini. All right? This is a fine mesh strainer. You can pick them up at Target, Home Depot. Well, actually, I don't know why I said Home Depot. Like, I don't know why you go to a hardware store looking for cocktail equipment. They may have it. Who knows? Let's get to pouring. Oh, been a fun day. Every last drop. Perfect. Good. It's quite a naked martini, so we're going to go ahead and add a few olives with the spoon that I don't have. We're just going to do, we're going to go with one. Arbitrarily. And a lemon zest. I usually use knives when I'm zesting, only because I like when it has just a little bit of pith on the backside of the peel, so that when I express the oils, I've got a little more like pressure on it or something. It expresses the oils just so much better. Just believe me. Don't question my authority. You're watching my video. Okay. All right, see, a little bit of pith. All good. All right, a little bit around the rim. Dip it in there, all good to go. Cheers. Here is the Abominable of a cocktail, the martini. Oh, that's good. Well, that's actually really good. If you haven't had Walters yet, try to find it. It's common on the West Coast. I order it from the West Coast, and it is that good. If you can't find it, Sapphire is great. You can get fancy with your martini gins if you want, because you're not mixing it with a whole bunch of other stuff. So go for the good stuff if you'd like. All right, enjoy.